Hi, welcome to lesson number 2, income and expenses exam type questions. So let's just get started. Let's get to it. Now we already have the basics, so let's get to it. Dean's mother, Ella, started her own instant photography business by taking photographs on the beach. She has a camera, but needs to buy a printer, photo paper, and ink cartridges for printing. So as you can tell here, you have a price for this particular printer. And table 3 shows Ella's income and expenses for producing and selling up to 200 photographs. Yes, so it is indeed up to 200 photographs. And now question 2.3.1 says, determine the selling price of one photograph. By now we know what to do there. By now we know. So we're just going to say that 2.3.1, we are going to take income like we have done in the previous video. Or remember, we go line by line. So we are going to take this and prove it with this. We can just prove it with 1. It's fine. So we are simply going to say that if you have received an income of 500, this is 500, and you have actually sold 25, therefore what will the income be? So if you have received an income of 500, having sold 25, the income, it says here that it is 20. Let's prove it with a different one, such as this one of 100. If you have received an income of 2,000, we are here, and you have sold 100, does it correspond? Because it has to. Like I told you, play around with numbers, find out 2 vertical lines and try and do them. You should get the same answer. Therefore, you know that you are indeed correct. You have sold 100. It's 20. You can do this for each and every line that is complete here. You are still going to get a 20. So let's continue. This, by the way, is a 500. Don't look at this and start bashing my handwriting. Like, this is a 5. Now that looks better. That looks better. Though it looks detached from the zeros, but it looks better. And then we have 2.3.2. Write down the formula that could be used to calculate total income. By now we know. See, these are the fruits of the basics. By now you know that you can simply say that income is equals to, like I told you, is equals to selling price. But you don't have to use that one. You have to use the final one, because now you know what the selling price is. It's 20 rands multiplied by, it's not going to be by the number of hamburgers. Don't do that. That was for that example that I made. It's the number of photographs. So it's the number of photographs. Yes, this is what they are looking for. You don't put selling price because you already know selling price. If we didn't know selling price, maybe then we would be allowed to put selling price. But like I told you, sometimes they're not going to ask you to calculate selling price. You must do it either way, because if they ask you for the formula for income, you must use the selling price. And then we go to 2.3.3. Let's see what 2.3.3 has to say. The total expenses can be calculated using the following formula. So they are telling us. You see, told you, sometimes they will, sometimes they will not. A, write down the variable cost for taking one photo. We went through variable cost is the cost that changes. Usually it's the cost of the inputs, or usually it's just the cost that is constantly changing. Maybe the cost of taking photographs, because it's constantly changing. The more photographs you make or the more photographs you take, the cost increases, and costs that increase or decrease based on how many production you have made, it's called a variable cost. So if they've given us, we know this already, that it's okay. See, I must work on my angles. We know this, that it's already a fixed. How do we know? I told you, if you have expenses that are already there, but you have made 0 income because you have sold 0 product, it's because this is a fixed. In particular, this fixed, it's not for rent, it's for the printer, which is going to be used for those pictures. So this is a fixed. plus a number of products multiplied by a 5. This 5 here, it is going to be our variable. So we just going to say that this 5 here is a variable. B. Let's get to B. Calculate missing value A. Where is missing value A? So we have to calculate expenses. So here, having to calculate expenses, we are going to use the same formula that they gave us. They said that expenses in rand, it is equals to the fixed plus number of photographs multiply by the variable that they gave us of a 5. So if we say 1,125 plus what number of photographs were when we are here in this line, it's 80 multiplied by a 5. Let's put that in the calculator and say that 1125 plus 80, when you multiply it by a 5, what do you get? It says you get 1,525. But I told you why this is a fascinating topic to work on. You can always prove. You don't just leave it there. Let's prove with the others. Let's see indeed if it's correct. 1125. Let's choose at random. Which one? We are choosing this one at random. So let's say they say plus by the number of photographs. They took 150 photographs. Multiply by 5. Yes, you see, 1,875. Therefore, we can move on with confidence. Confidence. Move on with confidence. So that was just that for this particular one. Move on with confidence. Let's go on to the second one. A shop owner bought 20 laptops at 5,000 each. It's important to make notes here. See, if you have a lot of statements, just do this. I think you can even do this here. Yes, we can. So 20, let's say, bought 20. It was 5,000 each. And then she sells 10 laptops at 6,000. Okay. Sold 10, 6,000 each, and offers a 10% discount of the remaining. Okay, she's still going to sell the remaining 10, but the remaining 10, obviously she will sell them at 6,000 as well. But the difference is that now she's going to be offering a 10% discount. With these notes, why are we making notes? Always in mathematical literacy, you have to make notes. They allow you to save time in that you do not have to go back to the statement and read things that you do not need. They can ask you, how many laptops have she sold? If you didn't make notes, guess what? You have to start here. A shop owner bought 20 laptops. This is no longer relevant to the question that they're asking you because it's not there. You should be focusing. By just looking here, you can tell, oh, she sold 10 for 6,000 each, or she sold the other 10 with a 10% discount. Always make notes, and I will always make a full paper video, hopefully when I'm done with all the topics under paper 1, how to tackle the paper as a whole, how to make your notes so that you can save time. So, okay, what's that for now? What's this all about? Let's continue. It says that calculate the total profit made by the shop owner. So profit, as you can tell, it's when income is greater than expenses. So they gave you the formula here. But before we can calculate the profit, we need to find out the income, the money that came into the business, and the money that left the business account. So let's start. Let's say income. Income, we are obviously going to say that we sold 10 at a selling price of 6,000. So we are starting here. And let's see what we get. So if you sell 10 for the price of 6,000, you get 60,000. 60,000. We still have to solve the income for the second one again. We know that again. Okay, we still sold 10 for the price of 60,000, of which it should for the price of 6,000, which would give us 60,000. But there was a 10% discount. So let's account for that. And there are many ways. Someone could have accounted for that 10% on the selling price, which is 6,000, but still the answer should be the same. So 60,000 is already here. So let's just say 10 divided by 100. And then you are getting that a discount is going to be 6,000. So let's take this, which is a discount, and let's subtract it from this total income that we have received. So when we say 60,000, it's what we were supposed to receive, but because there is a discount of 6,000, let's see what we get. 60,000 subtracting, and there are many ways. Someone could have done it on just one line. Yes, just one line, and they could have ended up with 54,000 for these remaining 10. So we have done this and this, so we can confidently say that our income here, it's the 60,000 we received for selling them at full price plus the 54,000 we received for selling them at a discount. So 54, no, plus 54 plus 60,000, we get 114,000. Now let's come here and say expenses. Expenses, they should be quite straightforward. We bought 20 at a price of 5,000. So we acquired 20 for the price of 5,000. The price of 5,000. Currently, it's 100,000 that we have used. So we can come to the formula which says that profit is equals to income when you subtract expenses. So 114,000 when you subtract 100,000, you get, so 114,000 when you subtract 100,000, what do you get? You actually get a 14,000. You get a 14,000. So now this is the profit that this particular business they have made for their transactions. Now let's continue to the second one, which says 2.3.2. Calculate the percentage profit. The percentage profit of the 20 laptops to the total profit received. Okay. Real estate here, and maybe we can even use a white on this real estate here. So to calculate the percentage of the profit, we are going to simply do this. So we are going to say that we know this is our profit, but we spent 100,000 multiplied by 100. It's a percentage profit, by the way. It has to multiply it by 100. So we know that we made out of all this transaction 14,000, but it cost us 100,000. Okay, where is my multiply by 100? So relative to how much it cost us, how much percentage of profit did we actually make? We made 14% profit. That's how you were supposed to answer these ones. So now let's move on. On we move. Now you have Mrs. Mkoli, or Mkoli is on the committee that is in charge of planning the matric farewell. The committee is considering 2 different venues for the farewell. The cost of these 2 venues is given in the graph below. As you can tell, the graph below is giving us the venues. So there's venue 1, venue 2. Venue 1 has a fixed of 8,000 and then additional of 80 rand per person. So for venue 1, before, we don't care how many people you are bringing. We just need you to pay 8,000. Let's start there. Yes, you can bring 1, it's fine, but we need our 8,000. For venue 2, they're like, you know what? According to the number of people that you'll be bringing, for each and every one of those people that you'll be bringing, you just have to give us 180. I don't know which one sounds fair. I don't know which one sounds outrageous, but it's fine. Let's do the calculation. We are not here to judge these venues. We are here to do calculations. They called us here. They consulted us because they have found out under good authority that we are mathematicians. It's what we are here for. Name the graph that represents venue 2. Write only the letter A or B in your answer. The graph that represents venue 2, it's the graph that is graph B. Yes, why graph B? Because graph B, if you are bringing 0 people, therefore you pay 0 rand. Why? Because you only pay according to the number of people that you are bringing. How do we know that graph A is venue 1? Because we know that, you know what? We don't care how many you are bringing. But before you bring 8,000. So 8,000 in front. So for 4.1.1, we know that they just said we should write a letter. So for venue 2, we know that it is indeed what? It is a B. And then let's continue. What it is for 4.1 from point 2. Provide an equation for calculating the cost of venue 1. So cost for venue 1 looks to me similar to like an expense cost, because you are going to say, so let's say cost venue 1. Why am I saying that? Because it looks to me like you have a fixed cost first, which is 8,000. And then you will plus it by the selling price. What the cost price or the selling price in this regard? The cost price, which is per person, it's 80. It's 80. So you're going to say you plus it by 8. And then you multiply it by what? By the number of people that are going to come. So number of persons. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What is it writing now? What's number of persons? It's number of persons. Don't even get me started. I'm kidding. If it makes you sleep better at night, you can write number of people. It's fine. So 8,000, which is a fixed, plus 80 rand, which per person should be paid, or per individual should be paid, multiplied by the number of those individuals which you'll be bringing to the farewell. If we were doing cost for venue 2, it was going to be simple. 180 multiplied by the number of people. That's just how it was going to work. So let's continue 4.1.3. Let's see what the question is asking. Explain what is happening at the point labeled X on the graph. You see now, here's the break-even point. But in this regard, it's different. In point X, it's where the costs or expenses for venue A, venue 1, and venue 2 are equal. I know you'll be tempted to say it's a break-even point, of which it is, but we're talking about 2 different companies here. So they are not breaking even between the income that they are receiving and the expenses that are going out. No, these are 2 different companies. They're just showing us that this is where the income for this venue 1 and venue 2 are equal, but still the same. Just a small variation there. 4.1.4. The committee eventually opted for venue 2. Do you know why? Why they opted for venue 2? Because like venue 1, let's be honest. Okay, we are not called here to be honest. Verify, showing all calculations that with 180 guests, so they are bringing 180 persons, they would have paid 10,000 less had they chosen to go to venue 1. So basically what the statement is saying here is that if they go to venue 2, they will save 10,000 compared to what they would have if they went to venue 2. So they would have paid 10,000 more if they have chosen to use venue 1. Let me rephrase. If they go to venue 2, they will save 10,000. Had they went to venue 1, they would have paid 10,000 more. So it's more like we are comparing the cost. So let us compare the costs using the cost structures for both. So for venue one, we already know that we have, and by the way, that I can tell that is not venue. In fact, consult. What's that? What's that I have written? V1. I save myself from a lot of spelling. Yes, this is math. Don't do that to me. Don't even think about it. Couldn't write venue. What? It's not like I couldn't write 80. Anyway, let's continue. For venue 1, we already have the cost structure here. So it says 8,000, which is a fixed, plus 80, which is a cost per individual. And we say we are bringing in 180 human beings. So let's go to our calculator and say that 8,000 plus 80 when we are bringing 180 individuals. What do we get? We actually see that for venue 1, we are supposed to 22,400. Venue 2. The cost structure is simple for venue 2. How is it simple for venue 2? Because you are just going to say 180 per individual multiplied by 180. Let's see. The irony. 32. Do you know why I'm saying the irony? The irony is the fact that venue 2's cost structure looks very simple and straightforward, and yet it is the one that costs a lot of money. A serious irony. So they opted for venue 2. The venue 2 that they opted for didn't work out for them. I think they are not mathematicians. That's why they called us, because they thought, like we thought, that you know what? It's actually going to cost you more if you go for venue 1. But in fact, venue 2 is proving to be some kind of a scam. But anyways, so we have to make the difference between the two. The 2,000. Okay, we can write difference here. You can write difference. And then 32,400. Let's see indeed if they were going to save 10,000. What do we get? It's already here. So let's just say 400. It's actually 10,000. But the question is, the committee opted to go with venue 2. Verify showing all calculations that with 180 guests, they would have paid 10,000 less had they chosen. Oh, my apologies. The first time I read the statement, I read it incorrectly. I read it as in they were saying that having gone to venue 2, they are going to save 10,000. No, that's not what they are saying. They are saying that had they gone to venue 1, they would have saved 10,000. But because they chose venue 2, they are going to pay 10,000 more. So this statement is by all means valid. Yes, indeed. Having gone to venue 2, they are paying 10,000 more. Had they gone to venue 1, they would have paid 10,000 less. My apologies. I can now tell that I have read the statement incorrectly, but I have done the calculations very much correctly. So my apologies on that one. Let's continue. Let's continue. It's this lot of comments that I'm putting in. You see, now I'm trying to work on a dual mode. No dual mode. I'm trying to use 2 SIM cards at the same time, and sometimes the other one gets stuck. Let's hope it doesn't get stuck. So here we have Mr. Booty and his daughter Jane use the same cell phone network provider, but each use it under different conditions. For Mr. Booty is on a contract, so he pays a fixed. Where are you, Pink? A fixed per month, a fixed 200 per month for 100 minutes free, and thereafter it costs 120 cents per minute per second billing after the free 100 minutes. The total cost, so they gave us the cost structure for Mr. Booty's condition. And we're also told that Jane is on a prepaid. So Jane is like, you know what? I'd rather pay for whatever I'm using at that particular time that I'm using it. So it's 1.75 per minute. So let's come here. We have this table, 4.1.1. So 4.1.1, it says that we should calculate the values of C and D. Let's start with the value of C. What are they looking for? Total cost in rands for who? This showing cost and duration of call. Oh, this is for Mr. Booty. So that we know we need to focus on this formula here because it's for Mr. Booty. So the total cost, we are going to use the same formula that we have been given for Mr. Booty. So the value of C, it's more like the total cost formula for Mr. Booty, which says that 200 upfront, we don't care, minus n minus 100, which we are giving you for free, we do care, multiply by 120 cents when you are done using our free minutes. So how many minutes have we used? This is the number of minutes. As you can see, it's 100. So we are saying, open bracket, 100 minus 100 multiplied by 1.20. Let's see what he will be paying for having used 100. So we are going to say 200 plus 100 minus 100 multiplied by 120 cents. Where are you going? So we find out that he only has to pay that particular 200. And then for B, we have to calculate the value of D. What's the value of D? So the value of D is the number of minutes that he would have used in order for him to have to pay 500. This is where the calculations come in. This is why I was telling you, if you haven't, go and do that now. Go and watch how to transpose, how to change the subject of the formula so that you can understand what I will be doing here. Because if you haven't, what I'll be doing here might be some strange voodoo mathematics, and you'll be like, what? So this is the cost structure. The total cost for Mr. Budu, we already know that contains a fixed for 200, the number of minutes that have been used, and 300 minutes multiplied by R1.20 thereafter for each and every minute that is used. Yeah. So we have been given the total cost. It's here. Let's substitute this total cost for the 500, which is the total cost. Why does my 500 look like a 600? What's this 5? Where have I adopted writing a 5 that does not look like a 5 and then having to fix it and then writing a 5 that is detached from the zeros? What's happening? So let's say 200 plus n, and then we can multiply it by 120. The first thing that we are supposed to do here, we'll take this to the other side. When we take it to the other side, it's going to be a 500 minus a 200. Why? Because it was positive. When it goes to the other side, it becomes negative. In this, we are going to try to solve this. Because this is a multiplication, we'll take this n first and we'll multiply it by 120. Next, we'll take this 100 and multiply it by 1.20. So n multiplied by 1.20, it's going to be n 120 or 120n. It's the same thing. And then we are going to say minus, because minus is still here. And then we are going to say that 100 multiplied by, I know, don't look confused. Go and watch that video before you are so confused, like, what's happening here? It's going to be a 120. Now, let's solve this. Going down, we are going to say, what is a 500 when you subtract a 200? It's going to be a 300, which is going to be n 120, and then 120. Again here, that is something that we can do. Yes, you're asking, what is it that we can do here? I don't see if there's anything that we can do here. We are going to send this to the other side. Because it's a negative, when it comes this side, it's going to be a positive, and then we are going to remain with n 1.20. So solving this, 300 is already here plus 120. We get 420. 420 is equals to n 1.20. Because this number goes with a variable, it has an n that we're trying to solve for. So this is more like n multiplied by 120, 1.20, 120 cents. We can simply divide by 1. Why are we doing that? Again, go and watch that video. We are doing that so that this can cancel this so that we can remain with an n. And this n we can simply derive by dividing on the other side, and we get that for paying 500, he actually has used 350 minutes. That's how you do this one. See? Transposing or changing the subject of the formula, which is something that we have done here, and we can prove. How can we prove? Let's put this all into the calculator. Let's put it back. So let's say we didn't know that the cost was 500. Let's say we didn't know that the cost was 500, but we knew that indeed it was 350 the minutes that were used. We could use the formula that says 200 plus open brackets, the number of minutes is 350. We should get 500. If we don't, then whatever we did there, it's voodoo maths. And then multiply by 120 cents. See? 500. Therefore, income and expense. You leave the class knowing, when you know, that you know what? Out of 150, I have acquired myself 9 marks. That is something. We are getting somewhere here. Let's try 4.1.2. Explain the term prepaid in this context. So in this context, prepaid. So let's start with prepaid before we put it in this context. Prepaid, it's you pay before usage. So you pay before usage. You must pay in advance. So in this context, it is the airtime, or so we can say, or it is the money. Yes, it is the airtime that Jane must buy before she uses the minutes. So it is the airtime that Jane must buy before she uses the minutes. You pay before usage. That is prepaid. Postpaid, you pay after usage. Calculate the cost Jane paid in a month. She called for 200 minutes. So for Jane, it was as simple as, like they told you, Jane is on a prepaid. She pays 175 cents per minute. So we are going to say that Jane, the amount cost for Jane is as simple as saying 175 multiplied by the minutes that she used. So Jane, 1.75 multiplied by the minutes that she used, and she did use 200. So Jane had to pay 350. That is the amount that she paid. Now let's go to this second last. There's a lot there. And now I know you, when there's a lot, you don't feel well. Surely you are itching by now. Like, what? When are we finished? We are not finished. We are covering all bases. Like I always tell you, the foundation upon which you will never fail has been set. Just step on it. I mean, already you could be using my videos to practice with me. While we are doing this, you pause the video, you go through it, you try it by yourself. When you are done, you continue the video, you see where you got it wrong, you are fixing. You see, we are starting here. Someone would be asking me, say your videos, they look so long. They are very long. You know why they are long? It's because I'm doing something that you should be doing by yourself, but I am doing it with you. Why am I doing something that you only should be doing it with yourself, which is practicing, but I am doing it with you? Guess what? Because thou art my daughter, or my son, for this day have I begotten thee. I'm kidding. Take that out of your mind. Doesn't exist in mathematical literacy. Does not even apply. Mpho's sister Anel has a vegetable garden. She grows vegetables that are considered useful for tooth growth. She sells mixed vegetable. I don't know what vegetables are considered for mixed growth. I'm glad this is mathematical literacy. Anyways, if your teeth are not growing, apparently, yeah, consider Miss Mpho's sister Anele, who has apparently she has vegetables that are useful for tooth growth. And you who's let, let's not go there. 2.2.1. Calculate Anele's total monthly fixed cost. Monthly fixed cost. So these are the per pack. So she sells 1 kg pack of mixed vegetables. And then the cost structure is like this. So it costs her 12.50 for that particular 1 kg, and she sells it for 25 rands. So they are saying here, calculate total monthly fixed cost. Okay, we have a monthly fixed cost here, but we have a rent for the stall and we also have transport. So we can simply say that for 2.2.1, the total cost or monthly fixed cost, it's the fact that we have to take 140, which is for rent, we plus it with the 60 rand, which is for transport. So the total monthly cost will give us 140 plus 60, which is a 200. Now 2.2 owing to what's the question that follows. So we've been given an expenses structure, as you can see. Usually they do, sometimes they do not. The formula below is used to calculate annual expenses for 1 month. But by now, I think you are familiar with what an expense structure looks like. From lesson number 1, we went through it. I showed you how to derive the expense structure the same way with the income structure. So by now you're familiar with this. So it should be even this structure. So solving for A and B, you can already pause the video and you can already do your worst. You know what I'm saying? Catch my drift, though I'm not in a car, but something like that. Use the above formula to calculate the values that are missing. So we are going to calculate value 1. After calculating value 1, we are going to choose at random. Let's say we are going to choose this line at random to prove value 1. We are going to calculate for B. After calculating B, we're going to choose at random this one to verify B. That's how it works. So that we can leave the classroom knowing that, you know what, this 6 marks was ours in full. Let's start with A. What is A? Let's come here. A is expenses. Already they gave us the formula, so we can simply use the formula for A. We can say that it is 200 because it's an expense formula, 12.50 multiplied by the number of packs. So let's do our substitution. 200 plus 12.50 multiply. How many packs? It was 10 packs that they sold or that they made particularly. So it's 200 plus 12.50 multiplied by a 10. We get that it's actually 325. But is this true? Let's use 40 to also prove 200. When you plus it by 12.50 and you multiply it by 40, you're going to get, what is it? 700. Therefore, we know. See what I mean? You live knowing that it is indeed as how I have done it. So you know that the answer is correct. Now let's continue with B. So for B, what are we calculating? The number of pegs. Do you remember what we did with regards to the number of pegs? Yes, I guess you do remember what we did with regards to the number of pegs. We did something such as this. So here, with regards to the number of pegs, there are many ways in which, by the way, you can do the number of pegs. So don't look at me and be like, you can do it the income way, you can do it the expense way. There are just many ways, but simply way that you can do the number of pegs is this. You can simply say that if I have received 400, but I have sold each and every one of those for 25 rands. Yes, here's the selling price. How many did I exactly sell? So here you can say that 400, which was the income, and I sold them for 25 rand, whereas it says that it was 16 packs. But let's prove it. I said we are going to choose this at random to see that it's indeed correct. So we saw 125 when you divide it by a 25. It's a 5, as you can see. Even if we were to use this, we're still supposed to get the same answer for 1,250 when you divide by the 50 that you have sold. What am I saying now? Because divide by 25, which is the selling price, you get a 50 pack. So that's how you do that one. As simple as that. You can even try to transpose here. And you are supposed to get a 16. This is what I mean when I say you can use the income structure, or you can also use the cost structure. Quickly. This is on the side. We are doing this on the side. See, this is our contract on the side. We know that income is going to be the selling price, which is 25, multiplied by the number of packs. The income we already have here is given as a 400. So let's substitute that for 400. 25, we need to know the number of packs, so we do not know that. Now here, we are trying to solve for n. Because we are trying to solve for n, we can divide both sides by 25. 25, because this will destroy this. We are left with n. Let's go to our calculator. 400 divided by 25. You see, you are getting 16. To practice also transposing, try to use this expense structure and get the answer correct. You see, if you can get the answer correct, I will buy you a table. Yeah, a class from table. I heard you do not have one at your school. I'm kidding, you do. But I will buy you more. You'll have two. You'll put the back on top of one, and you will study on the other one, or you'll sit on the other one. Anyways, you'll decide what you want to do with those tables. Let's continue. Now we have 2.1. As you can see, things are starting to get slightly different. There are a lot of marks in this cost, income, expense structure. Johnson is a physiotherapist. He was contacted by the South African Rugby Union to give the Sevens rugby players a massage during the rugby tournament that was held in Cape Town during December 2022. Johnson hires 30 masseurs. Is that how it's pronounced? Masseurs? Whatever. She hires people who are going to perform massages. Whatever they are called, masseurs or whatever they are called. By now, there are marks that are just there for the taking. And they are indeed there for the taking. Well, for us who have been here from the first lesson, I guess. 2.1.1. Show by means of calculations that the income for a single massage is 120. So let's come here and say 2.1.1. So we are supposed to show by means of calculations that for a single massage you are going to get 130. So what are we supposed to do here? So we can use any at random. So let's say we use this one. So here, as you can see, if we have, by the way, an income of 1,755, but then the number of masseurs were 13, what do we get? Let's see. 1,755 divided by... what did I do now? What did I do? Yes, we are getting actually that it's 135. Like I told you, prove any at random. This one, does it give us the same answer? 17,550 divided by 130. What do we get? 135. Therefore, you can move on. Calculate the values of A and the values of B. So the value of A, it's the number of masseurs. So we are going to simply take this here, and we are going to divide it by this. It's like we are still in that cost and income structure. Of course, it still is. So we say 14,040 when you divide it by 8. What do you get? You actually get 1,700 and what's this? 1,700. That's not how we are supposed to do that one, because if we are doing it like that, we are going to have a problem. You are supposed to say that because we now already know how much it costs per massage. So because we already understand that per massage, we are supposed to pay 1,135, we are going to take this income that we have, which is 14,040, and we're going to divide by the amount which we give that particular service. So let's say 14,000, and then we divide it by 135. So we are going to get that it's 104 number of masseurs. Now let's prove it. Let's take any at random. Let's take this one to be sure. So if we set that 8,775, when we divide it by the amount that we use, we do get a 65. So therefore we know that we are indeed correct. Oh, B. I'm forgetting a B. How can I forget that we also have to solve for a B? So for solving for a B, what are we being asked? So a B, it's the income. But by now we know that income, you have to take the price that you are selling at or offering that particular service, multiply by the number of those services that you have offered. And in this case, it's 39 services that have been offered. So we are simply going to say 135 multiplied by 39. Yes, 39. That's the massages that they offered particularly. So 135 multiplied by 39, you actually get that it's going to be 5,265. Is this correct? Let's choose this one at random. If we say 135 and then I have to multiply it by 52, do I get 7,020? Yes, we do. Therefore, we know we are correct. See, now we are moving at the speed of light. Why? Because we have gathered all the basics, all the terminologies, and all the fundamentals that we need in order for us to be successful in terms of income and expenses. This is what practice does. You start slow, practicing, and take your time while you are practicing everything that you need to practice. By the time you have been practicing for so long, it becomes your second nature, and solving questions in that particular topic becomes as simple. I fetch 6 extracts for income and expenses. The reason why, it's so that by the time you get to the third one, there's that light bulb moment. Understand how to do this thing, and you are doing it. You are pausing the video, you are doing it. You are matching yourself, and you are continuing. You have what we call confidence. That's the word I was looking for. Complete the following formula to total income per session. By now we know. Income. By now we know it's going to be 135. The amount that these human beings are supposed to pay for a single massage multiplied by the number of massages, which supposedly it's called masseurs or masseurs. Yes. Don't look at me. You also see the name. Pronounce it yourself. Human being. What's wrong with you? 2.1.4. Prove that the total income for the weekend, if they start working on Friday and finish on Sunday, is 78,975. There are 15 sessions per day. Let's do our calculations. So, if they start working from Friday until Sunday, how many days would they have worked? Friday 1, Sat 2, Sun 3. So they would have worked 3 days. So let's start there. And there are many ways in which you can arrive at the answer. So you can also try your own ways in which you can arrive at the answer. You do not have particularly to start, but the answer has to be the same. So I'll say that 3 days multiplied by 15 sessions per day. So you are going to get, let's see, 3 days when you multiply by 15 sessions in 1 day, you are going to get 45 sessions. So they would have completed 45 sessions. But sessions are not the number of massages that they gave out. See, sessions, 1 day they gave 13. So you take the number of sessions in that particular day, you multiply it by the number of massages which they gave out. Now let's see what we get when we take the number of days, we multiply it by the number of massages or masseurs. I'm no longer going to call out that name because feel like you are judging me. 45 is already here, multiplied by 13. We actually get that they gave out 585 massages, or whatever this is. Now, how much? That's the important thing. By now we know that it costs 135 multiplied by 135. See? It's actually 78,975. Now you could have done it differently, but just make sure that your answer at the end is 78,975. Let's go on to the next one, which says that Johnson pays each masseuse 1,000. So each of these people who are offering massages, they get paid 1,000 for the weekend and 50 rand per massage. So 1,000 per weekend, also 50 rand per massage. He needs to rent a room at the Cape Town Stadium to perform these massages, which costs 4,800 per day. Calculate his total expenses and express the total income to the total expenses. The first thing that we are supposed to do here is that we are supposed to calculate for the day how much is he going to be paying the rest room or the room in the Cape Town Stadium. So for that particular one, we are simply going to say that he's going to be around for 3 days, which is the weekend, and he's going to pay per day 4,800 for 3 days. What do we get? So 4,800, you pay it for 3 days consecutively, you end up having to pay 14,400. That was just for the room. Now, he has hired 13 masseuses. Let me show you if you didn't see it up there. He has hired, you see, I underlined, John hires 13 masseuses. So he has to pay 1,000 to how many people? To 13. So let's say here, he has to pay 1,000 to 13 of his people who are offering these massages. And let's come here, say 1,000 that he has to pay. You see, one thing about these questions, you might not get the answer correct. I always told you, be excited about this because you know you're going to get something out. You can get 3 marks out, you can get 4 marks out, but never leave a 5, 4, 6, 7, 8 mark question lying around without answering it and your excuses that I do not understand. No, try something. That which you understand, do it. You understand that we're there for 3 days and we are paying 4,800 per day. Just do that 4,800 multiplied by 3. You understand that we hired 13 people and we are paying them each 1,000. Do that. Do something. Get some marks. Don't leave a 6 marks hanging and say, I didn't understand. It was a big statement. Really? I will disown you, having begotten you. Anyways, it's 13,000. And then let's continue. 50 rand per massage. How many massages did he do? We have calculated them here that in 3 days, you could have completed 585 massages. So 50 rand must be paid out for those 585 massages. So 50 rand must be paid out for that. 585 massages, and which is 29,250. That's the cost structure. So let's total costs or total expenses. So let's say total expenses, we are going to say 14,400 for the place. 13,000 which must go out to the masseurs plus 50 rand per massage. Let's see, 29,250 is already here. 13,000 we can put it here, and 14,400 we can put it here. We actually see that it's 56,650. Now they said that we should do something. They said we should express total expenses. So as a ratio, we are going to say that expenses here is to income. So expenses, it's 56,650 is to income. As total income, the total income we've calculated here to be 700. 700. So 7,897. So it's 7,000. It's not 7,000, 78,975. So to express it as a unit ratio, we can divide here by the same. We can also divide here by the same. Also, if you don't understand ratios, go watch the video. The video will tell you what happens with regards to unit ratios. And then 78,925, you divide it by 56650. And I know someone will be like, you started with what they didn't say you should start with, 1.39. Rounded off to 2 decimal places. We could still have done it exactly how they asked us. Express the total income to the total expenses. So we could have simply said income is to expenses. What makes it make sense is what you wrote at the top, because it will make them understand that for an expense of 1, they received an income of 1.39. So even in this side, let's put it in this side in this format. Here we have 78,975. I put 25 here. Did I put 25? No, the answer is not this. I put 25 here. I can tell that no, there's a value that I did not put right. It's 75. It's 78975, not 25, 75. So the answer, and then it gives me the same answer. It's fine. Here and then is 2 expenses, which it's 56,650. Can divide by what is on your left. Both sides, 78975. This will cancel this, you'll have a 1. This and this, when you say 78975, you divide it by, what am I starting with? Because I must start with 56650, and you divide it by 78975. You actually get a 0.72. It's rounded off to 2 decimal places. So that's how you do it. If you have this at the top, it's going to explain exactly what you are saying in these cost structures. But for this particular, for the purposes of this, you should use this one. The reason why you should use this one, if you go back to my ratios, I'll tell you that you express them exactly how they asked you to express them. So they said that express the total income. They started with total income. Therefore, you had to start with total income to total expenses. Therefore, it's total expenses as a unit ratio. So that, beautiful people, is just about that when it comes to income and expenses. Go and look for more question papers and do more practice. Whatever you can find, do practice. Catch you on the next one. Keep well.